This is Scott Cosenza with Liberty Nation TV. Joining me today is Andrew Moran to talk about the Trudeau family and their adventures in India. Thank you for joining us, Andrew.
So last week, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, his wife Sophie Gregoire, and their three children were supposed to go on a trade mission, but it was obviously disguised. It was actually a family vacation disguised as a trade mission. Trudeau was supposed to go there on a free trade agreement crusade and strengthen relations, but he took in the sights and sounds of India with his family, all a taxpayer dime. And what happened afterwards was even more remarkable, which I'm sure you'll delve into soon.
So why, you call it sort of an embarrassment of a trade mission. Why is it an embarrassment? What's going on that leads you to that conclusion?
Well, there were a series of boondoggles and bungles and blunders when it came to this trip. So the very first moment he stepped off the plane, he was wearing Indian garb. And then for the next couple of days, he went to all these different sites and he was wearing Indian garb. And many critics said that it was too Indian, that it was over the top, that it was as if he was in a cast of a Bollywood movie. It was just completely absurd how he was doing and what he was doing. And also, if you go from his leftist social justice philosophy, then he's really culturally appropriating, because every single day he was in India, he was wearing these flamboyant, not just the Prime Minister, but his wife and his children wearing flamboyant Indian attire. And there was a politician, on Twitter, he said that not even everyday Indian people are dressed like this. And there was a photo taken between the Prime Minister, his wife, and his two other kids, and with Shah Rukh Khan. Now, Shah Rukh Khan is the biggest Bollywood star. He's one of the biggest stars in the world, box office-wise. And he was wearing just a basic black suit. And then surrounding him was the Prime Minister and his family, right. Yellow, white, green, all that. And then there were even more controversies after that, which I'm sure you'll mention too.
Well, first, let's just talk about the cultural appropriation, Mark. Now, Trudeau is somebody who is, I think it's fair to say, at the vanguard of social justice warfare. He's taken to altering your national anthem so that it's non-gender specific. And doesn't this somehow violate one of the appropriation prohibitions that these, they're chasing around the kids at Halloween to tell them not to dress up like cowboys and Indians? There's a different kind of Indian, but how does the same thing not apply here?
But what was worse than the attire was that he was in India. They have tremendous Indian chefs. The food is divine. What does he do? He hires a celebrity chef in Canada who's a native Indian man, mm-hmm. and he flew back to India to cook him an Indian meal. And this is a rich man, Vic Rajim, mm-hmm. and he's a celebrity chef. And he went to India all the taxpayer dime. Why would Prime Minister Trudeau in India need a Canadian chef to cook him an Indian meal? Wow. It's something you'd see in a sitcom or a bad Disney TV, a made-for-TV movie starring a dim-witted politician.
Yeah,
it was baffling.
There's a poutine joke to be made there, but I won't do it out of deference to you. So, all right. So obviously not a great start to 2018, and you say that he's already been a disappointing 2018 for Prime Minister Trudeau. What else has gone on in Canada to make it so?
Well, aside from that people-kind gaffe that dominated the headlines for about 2 weeks when he made it, policies are terrible. I mean, 80,000 jobs were lost across the country. Economic growth was slower than anticipated because the Bank of Canada, they projected 2.5%. Growth was between 1.7 to 2%. The budget deficit is likely to balloon, and with the Bank of Canada raising interest rates to service the immense debt that Justin Trudeau is adding to the country, it's going to cost a lot. Bill Morneau, he's the finance minister, to cover his spending and what he wants to do for the next 2 years. And with an election coming up, next year's the general federal election, you're going to likely see even more spending bills introduced by the Prime Minister and his party. Thankfully, Andrew Scheer Although, I personally would have preferred Maxime Bernier, but Andrew Scheer has held the Prime Minister's feet to the fire, and he's done an admirable job. He's done a lot better than I expected. Although, again, Maxime Bernier, who's considered Mad Max and the Ron Paul of the libertarianism in Canada, he would have been a far superior choice to take on Justin Trudeau. I mean, let's put it this way. If you were in a debate between Jagmeet Singh, Justin Trudeau, Elizabeth May, and Maxime Bernier, Bernier would have just wiped the floor with all of those candidates.
Okay, well, there we have it from the north. And from India, let's hope that your Prime Minister doesn't do any worse. When does he come back?
He's already back. He's just doing damage control now.
Okay, well, very good. Then the only damage will be done at Indian restaurants in Ottawa, I suppose, at this point. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Andrew Moran for Liberty Nation TV. This is Scott Cosenza. Thanks for joining us.